Starting in about 5 minutes here. How's everyone in the audience doing, by the way? How have you been enjoying the summit so far? It's been great so far. We're really glad to hear that. That's awesome. I've been having a lot of fun myself as well. That's really cool, Gears. Yeah, we're working on the block interaction range stuff, so that should be fixed sometime in the near future. Curious if you have a second, could you remind Nexus to get the stream up if he's not doing that already? Stream is up. All right. Let me get a link. Okay, everybody. Stream is up. Here's the link in chat. Let me put out the announcement. All right. Splendid. Hello, everyone in the YouTube chat as well. Hi, Miss Ode. All right. We're about to start in about 2 minutes. Quick reminder to everybody present. Make sure to stay seated during the panel. Try to not walk around too much. Try to not block people's view. And yeah, just overall enjoy the talk. If you have any questions, post them in either game chat, the stage Discord channel chat, or in the stream, and I will note them down. And we will have a Q&A section at the end. So yeah. All right. And with that, we're, I think, ready to start. So welcome, everyone. This is Finishing Your First Pack, hosted by Super Red. And yeah, feel free to take the stage, Red.
Yeah. Good morning or afternoon, or I'm sure it's the middle of the night for some people. So thank you for being here. Um, I guess we'll just start. I have a script, but I'm sure we won't be using that in about 5 minutes. So I'm sure a lot of you sort of experience when working on like creative projects, personal creative projects. You often lose a lot of motivation and usually sort of drop them after a little while and abandon them. And that's usually because there's a lack of a clear vision, a plan, and sort of overall organization. Hopefully, through this presentation, I'll sort of give you some sort of tips and some sort of processes that you might be able to sort of implement, not just into sort of data pack creation, but sort of into any of your personal creative projects. So we'll see how we go. I have been working with sort of commands ever since one command block creations were all the rage many years ago, and sort of been working on that ever since. My background is in design within digital technologies, so I have a bit of design experience, which sort of comes in handy when talking about all this boring stuff like documentation, which we're about to get into. So we're sort of going to take a design-centered approach to sort of managing your projects. And we'll be covering 3 distinct areas, planning, development, and a bit of publishing at the end, because I know a lot of people get sort of hung up on that. I do myself. Probably move slides. That would also help. There we go. So that's me. And over the years of making data packs and just sort of commands in general, I have tried and failed at a lot of different things. This is simply a handful of the many abandoned projects that I've once taken on. But recently, as of 4 months ago, I finished my very first large-scale project, which is being presented here today at the summit, Jurassic Craft data pack. So that was almost probably 6 to 8 months worth of work, and it's my biggest, most large-scale project. It's actually been successful in development and getting out there for people to play. So hopefully I'll be able to take you through what I've learned from all my failures and my eventual success in finishing something. And hopefully people can learn something from it. So we'll start with planning your project. Super fun stuff. No one really wants to plan a lot of their stuff. They just want to get straight into development, and that's fair enough, because writing down your ideas isn't as fun as actually trying to make them, which is reasonable. But it does cause a lot of issues in the long run. So why should we plan? Because it gives us a clarity of vision. It allows us to have an understanding of what we're trying to make. This is incredibly helpful, especially if you're wanting to do collaborative projects, because it's insanely difficult to work with other people on something substantial if you don't have a clear goal. Helps with time management. Being able to actively see what you have to do and see your tasks allows you to sort of manage how you're going to develop things and manage what you should not be doing. Structure. It gives structure to how you develop in terms of, how would you put this? What you should develop next, why you should develop certain things over another, and how you sort of progress creatively and purposefully. Motivation. Surprisingly, documentation is a great motivator to finish things. because not only does it allow you to step away from your project and then come back at a later date and have an understanding of what you were trying to achieve in the first place, it allows you to always have in your mind a reminder of your initial thoughts and your initial goals, which is super motivating because you're always looking towards the future to whereas you can sort of finish your project and have it be something. So how should you plan if you're going to plan, which I suggest you do? A lot of people start with lists, and that's a great way to start. Listing down your ideas, listing down your thoughts and sort of the features you're wanting to improve. I don't know if people can see that. I can barely see that, but it's not important. It's just placeholder text, pretty much. But lists, they're good. You can use them to refer back to and sort of keep a checklist of what you're hoping to achieve. It sort of gives you a little bit of motivation, but it's not the best. So onto what's next is structuring. And this is a bit better than lists. So adding some sort of structure in terms of why you're developing certain things and how you're planning on doing it, sort of laying it out more so. Graphs are good because they allow you to sort of checklist what's in development, what's going to come next, if things are finished. It sort of works as validation of what you've already done and what you're hoping to do. Also a bit of descriptions there always helps. And then sort of putting it all together is drafting. And drafting is really sort of short explanations of each feature and each element. So not only do you have a list of everything, but you have a cohesive understanding of how each of those things are going to work, sort of the mechanical pieces behind it and why they're going to be working together and why they're in there in the first place. All of those together come together in a thing we like to call a design document. A lot of different industries use them. Design uses them. Game design uses them. And so I see, thank you. People are messaging me, which isn't helpful right now, but thank you. So we've got, it helps. What are we talking about? So it helps. Right, we'll jump to the next slide where we actually have something there. So it helps define your scope because it's an amalgamation of lists, structuring, and the other thing I talked about, and drafting. It helps you have clear objectives and an overall understanding of exactly what you want to achieve. Next, it allows you to define the restraints, what you will and won't be doing. Because a lot of the time, what you'll have is in developing stuff, you'll go off on tangents and you'll lose yourself building features that you didn't already plan to add, which isn't really helpful because you're wasting your time, you're wasting your efforts, and you're conflating your projects with things that they don't need because you haven't properly integrated them into your original ideas. Documentation helps support your decision making because as you go along, you will come up with ideas and you will think of new things to add, and that's great. But there's a proper way you should be able to do it, which is integrating it into your design document, which not only allows you to, like I said, add new features, but add them in a way which doesn't destroy or detract from things that you already have. So by adding them to a pre-existing design document, it allows you to integrate them properly. And then documenting for future reference. This sort of comes back to the motivation sort of point, which is by having this document, which sort of explains your projects. You can use it for marketing purposes, which we'll talk about later. Motivation, because it keeps you excited about your project. It allows you to take a break You can drop your project for a week, a month, and come back and you'll be on the same page because you can look through your notes, you can look through all your explanations of all the different features you're planning, and you can actually understand what you're up to and what you're still planning to do. So it helps in that regard. So what to include within your data pack? And there isn't really a set structure, but there's just a few things which I myself, through my experience, suggest people have. But largely, it's just whatever you feel is necessary. So firstly, a project overview, which is sort of like a vision statement, which sort of explains what you're hoping your data pack does, what you're hoping for it to achieve. In my case, when creating Jurassic Craft, it would have been something like bringing new mobs into the world through archaeology, which is already a system in Minecraft. So that would be the vision of my project. The gameplay, you want sort of an explanation of what you're actually adding, the features, and why they're there. So again, with myself, I wanted to have mobs. I wanted to have fossils which you could dig up. I wanted to have a block which you could interact to change those fossils into dinosaur eggs which you could hatch. Those were the front end features which I wanted to define. Then looking at more of the back end, which is the mechanical side, and you could sort of think about this in terms of commands. What sort of things you have to think about mechanically? Are you going to have to use scoreboards? You're going to have to use display entities. All the mechanical sort of underlining things, whatever constructs your front end should be defined somewhere. So not only can you solve problems, but in the future, you can look back to see how you solve problems. And scope. This sort of reflects back to your project overview, but it's more defined because it allows you to see exactly what you want to have and what you don't want to have. It saves your time, it saves your effort. It's very important. So finally, wishlist features. They're sort of things which are beyond your scope at the moment, but could be beneficial. And so you should always have these because you want to write your ideas down somewhere, but you don't necessarily want to add them straight into your design document because they might not work, but they might work in the future. So having them written down somewhere is pretty helpful. So how should you actually use a design document? First, you want to reference throughout your development. As you're going along, you will find plenty of use cases where you have to look back and check, what am I supposed to be doing right now? What am I actually developing? Why am I developing things? And it helps you stay on top of all the things you want to do. It keeps you focused. You can track your progress. So again, sort of the same thing, but in terms of managing your time, it allows you to allocate when you're doing certain things, and it ensures that you're always progressing at something. You're not just playtesting and just playing with the one feature over and over. Always wanting to progress because you have a checklist there, or you have a list of things you want to do. You can write down your changes and your updates, not only to your project, but to how you want to plan your project. Adding features, removing features. You should probably write that all down because you forget things. So having it documented somewhere is great reasoning why you don't have certain elements in your projects or why you do. And so have that is quite helpful when it comes to the end when you're publishing or marketing. And quality control. It's sort of this is more for collaborative projects, but allows you to manage what is and isn't in your pack on a larger scale by saying this feature does fit, this feature doesn't, and sort of being able to sort through what is and isn't important in the large scale of your development. So we're on to developing. So when actually developing your project, what available resources are out there? Because you can do everything manually, and that's great. But when you're a solo developer like myself, or working on a passion project, there's not a lot of need to write out JSON files by yourself. That would be quite boring. So I'm just going to quickly run through a whole bunch of resources that you probably all know, but I just wanted to put them all here so people can have a look. So where should you find help? Because going through development, especially alone, you'll run into problems which you can't solve. So ask for help. But a lot of the questions are where can I find help? Reddit, surprisingly, it's not the best site, but it can help. Minecraft command block forum, a lot of helpful people on there, surprisingly, who will just answer your questions and solve your problems. So use that. Discord, places like the Smith Discord or Minecraft commands. You can talk to people, you can share your ideas, you can get help, you can meet people who can help you. Good places. Minecraft forums, kind of outdated now, but you can still find some helpful information from about 5 years ago if it's still relevant, but it's just there. And YouTube, probably the best place to find information, but in terms of getting people to help you, kind of difficult. So top of the list is Reddit and Discord if you want to get interaction with other people. Command resources quickly. MC Stacker, use it for generating commands, summon stuff, because you don't want to be writing that out. It's also extremely useful for updating your commands from older versions to newer versions. If you just load in your commands and then it'll output it to the new version, updating all your attributes and modifiers, which is extremely helpful considering Minecraft keeps changing it every 2 months or so. Miso.io, for everything JSON related, advancements, crafting recipes, really good stuff. Then we have Minecraft tools. It's quite outdated, but they're interfaces for books and Telraw and signs. Probably not signs, but titles and stuff are really good because they're visual, unlike MC Stacker. Then we've got BDS Studio, which is kind of new, but it is a item display and block display sort of configurer. It allows you to build some pretty cool sort of features, like models quite quickly, and very easy to import Minecraft. And then very, very outdated, but just armor stand tools. Just reference that one there, because armor stands can sometimes have weird rotations, and you just want a lot of the time for armor stands you just want something really quick and placeholder. So that's all right. There's plenty of other resources which are all over this Summit server, so I implore you to go explore a lot of them because there's so many resources out there which you can take advantage of. Visual Studio Code, that's what I use for my coding, for my programming, for my personal work, and my command block stuff, Datapack stuff. So just a few of the extensions I use, which is Datapack Helper Plus, good for Minecraft formatting of commands and colorful syntax, which is super cool because it makes it not all black and white. Then we've got syntax, same sort of thing. Honestly, I don't really know the difference between the two. I just use both. And this last one, which is Datapack icons, surprisingly extremely helpful. It adds icons for all your different folders and files. And what it's really good for is whenever Minecraft changes how, like the file namings on the things, I think it was like a month ago, they changed all the the tags from tags to tag. And so you could just easily see that they weren't correct because the icons weren't there. So quite useful, especially when you're starting to construct a data pack from the ground up, files on all. So for creating visual assets, I'm going to recommend the Minecraft Wiki, surprisingly, because they have a database of every single texture from every single Minecraft game, which is kind of helpful, especially when you want to make Minecraft-like textures for your resource packs. So they have all the items there. They have all the blocks there. They have all the items from Minecraft Dungeons and Minecraft Earth. I think they've got a few things in there. So quite helpful. And for when creating pixel art, I use Photoshop, but I also use this website called Pixel Art. It's free. It's very easy to use, and allows you to create things very, very easily and very fast. So good for prototyping, good for final development, and it's free. So you don't have to worry about buying stuff. And Minecraft Title Generator, which is a extension for Blockbench. So that's how you get all the fancy Minecraft titles, like Minecraft does for the wild update or the caves and cliffs. So whenever you see data packs or packs like that, that's what they're using. Minecraft Title Generator for Blockbench. So some development tips, and then we'll move on to publishing. Comment your code. It's insanely boring, but it's exceptionally helpful because you might be writing code one day and you look at it the next day. Yeah, ooh, comments. It's awful. It really is. But it's so helpful because you could be writing code one night and you wake up the next morning and you look at it and you say, what is this? You have no idea how it is or what it does or why you have it. But if you comment your code, you can actually make sense of it, because I've been working on the same project for 6 to 8 months, and some of those lines of commands and files are 8 months old. If I didn't have comments on them, I wouldn't know what they're doing or why I have them, and I would be rewriting stuff all the time. So please, if you take anything, comment in your code. You'll thank me. Use folder groupings. I've started to get into it. It's kind of difficult and annoying, but you can actually group your different sort of commands, MC function files within folders, and you can reference the folders and then and so if you end up having, let's say, 100 functions, you don't have to look at them all in one grouping. You can define them and group them from there. And yes, you can have files within files within files, which from a manager sort of stance would be great, but I don't think we're going to get there anytime soon. Develop an MVP. For those who don't know, MVP is minimal viable product. And so that's what you sort of want to aim for when you start developing your project, which isn't your fully fledged RPG, MMO style data pack. It's something that works and something that you can test. You don't want to spend 6 months on a project to find out that it sucks, that it's just boring. So the original Jurassic Craft data pack was made within a week, with me and a friend, and we just worked on it for a week, and then we published it, and we said, does anyone like it? And we had enough views and enough downloads that we might keep going at this. So I spent the next 8 months working on it. So we'll see if it's any good. But yeah, so develop an MVP, because not every idea is going to be the best thing in the world. And that's okay, because you can just create something else. You can come up with other ideas. You can workshop it, but don't waste your own time and effort developing things that suck. And everyone has really bad ideas sometimes, and that's cool because you can come up with something new pretty easily. So work smart. And this sort of ties back into everything that I've sort of talked about so far, which is managing your time, managing your effort. Don't focus on things that you don't have to. Yeah, correct. Work smarter, not harder. But I believe in the saying of work smarter and work harder because that just doubles your effort. Um, so yeah, you could. It's really about working to your advantages. You might be amazing at making textures. So focus your content around your textures. You might be amazing at commands and creating insane bosses and mobs. Focus your stuff around that. Don't waste your time on things that. Well, no, I won't say that because you can always progress your skills. You can always get better at stuff. But if you have skills, don't throw them away in pursuit of your grand MMO style project, which you'll never finish because it'll take 10 years and 100 people to make. And no one will play it because it's got insane amount of bugs. So focus on what you can do and work from there. Progress your skills slowly. Learn from your failure. Work smart. Comment your code. That's what it means. Comment your code. Then we come on to progress documentation, which I know you hear documentation again. I've already over 15 minutes. So, but it's important. Take notes. Take notes. You'll be going through your stuff and you will come up with ideas. You'll think of things. You will want to change things. Make notes, please. Write down your ideas. If you come up with something that you think, hey, this could work as an idea. This could work as a project, as a data pack or a resource pack or anything. Even if you can't work on it right then, write it down. Create an archive of your ideas, of projects that you can do, because eventually you will have time to explore those ideas. Maybe you'll spend a week on each project to see what works, and then you'll go from there. But write down your ideas, not just for overall projects, but even within projects. We came up. We were actually setting up for the summit, and I was building my booth for the Jurassic Craft thing, and me and a friend, we were building this table, and we thought, wouldn't this be amazing to have a holographic dinosaur in the middle as a big sort of piece? And I thought, well, I haven't done that. I haven't. That's not in my data pack. So I thought, you know what? Let's just do it. So we added it. I made it just for the booth. And then I thought, hold on, I have to implement that into the data pack. So I wrote it down, and then about a month later, I started working on it, and it's now in the data pack. So write down your ideas because you will forget them, sadly. So please write them down. Take screenshots. This is surprisingly effective. And Minecraft has this very cool feature called F2. And if you hit that, you take a screenshot. When you're working on your projects, hit F2. When you add something, no way, yeah. It's amazing. Hit F2. You will take a screenshot of your screen. Really, it's amazing. But what you're doing is you're creating a record of what you're working on. And even if you abandon your projects, you will have evidence that you worked on something. And maybe in the future, you'll look back and you think, hey, when I was making this, I was working on these kinds of commands or these kinds of features. And so what you're doing is recording your learning, which is great. It also comes in handy when you want to show off to people, when you want to promote your stuff, or you want to say, hey, Bob, my friend Bob, I want you to see what I'm working on. You send them those screenshots. They say, wow, that's amazing. Take screenshots. It's really helpful. It's really motivating to look back through your Minecraft screenshots and see your progression of your different projects. It also allows you, if you're ever in the position to have to make a presentation at a Minecraft convention, it's super helpful for content to put on your screen. I don't know if anyone's going to be in that position, but just in case you are, try that. Then we go into the final sort of element, which is publishing your project. And I published a few, most not very successful, but that's okay because there's underlying learnings for that. So we'll get to that. But firstly, we come to the section just before publishing, which is testing. Testing is quite important. I have done it before, which is you publish something that you haven't fully tested and it's broken. And it might not be broken for you, but it might be broken for someone else. And that's not good, because they will comment on your thing saying, hey, this doesn't work. That comment is there. People can see that. That doesn't help your reputation at all. So please, test. Test throughout your development. I like to call this soft testing, which is when you're developing different features, test them out, obviously. That's what you do when you develop things. You make sure it works. Otherwise, what are you doing? But not just that, test with other people. Get other people in there. So you can see what works, see what doesn't work, see what they feel about it. So while you're developing it, while you're actively working on your project, you can move things around, you can switch things up. It's a lot easier to fix things while you're already working on them than once you're done. So do that. Take notes. I know I just said it before, but when you're testing, take notes. And I know people like, oh, I'll remember this bug. I'll remember this thing that I want to fix or change. You don't. You'll always forget something, and then you'll have the confidence, oh, I did testing. It's okay. It'll be fine. It won't be. Take notes, because you will forget stuff, and you'll leave bugs in there, and it's not fun. So take notes. Pick your problems. What that means is when you've done testing, you might realize that there are certain problems that are bigger issues than others. For instance, when I did some first testing for the Jurassic Craft Datapack, to turn fossils into dinosaur eggs, one of the things, frog spawn to the dinosaur embryo. The dinosaur DNA, to turn it into an embryo, you add frog spawn. When I was doing that, I thought, wow, frog spawn is such an amazing texture. It works perfectly. It makes perfect sense. Turns out you can't get frog spawn in survival Minecraft at all. You can't pick it up with a bucket. You can't pick it up with Silk Touch. I didn't know that for some reason. So we did the playtest and we found frog spawn after like 2 hours of searching, and we couldn't pick it up. So at that point, we went into creative and we got frog spawn. So that was a pretty important problem. That was a lot of P's to fix, because it hindered the playtester's experience. Things like massive amounts of lag, that stops people from actually testing your feature. Things like not being able to load certain elements or test certain things is really difficult. If I can suggest one thing, and I understand that it probably isn't available for everyone, which is data packs are really cool. Because if you have a server, you can just put the data pack on the server and no one has to download anything. Because when people download stuff and they have to put it into a worlds folder, they can get it wrong, they can muck up, especially if they don't have experience with data packs and stuff. So if you had the opportunity, use a Minecraft server and put the data pack on there. People know how to join servers. They can join the server and a resource pack will be applied. Yeah, Bloom host. Thank you. Yeah, use Bloom. But it allows you to test it without the issue of people having to download your stuff and trying to work it out. Because they can just join the server, the resource pack will be applied, and then you're good to go. They can test the features and not have to worry about the struggle of how do I open my .minecraft folder, which does happen surprisingly. And then test again. After your testing, test again. You should, at a minimum, if you're going to publish something that you want to succeed, you have to test at least twice. Because, like I was saying before, the first test you'll come across dumb bugs. Things like frog spawn that you can't actually get. Massive lag spikes. Things that don't spawn for some reason. Or maybe all your display entities just die for some reason, which has happened, and then you just have invisible pigs walking around. That's not very fun for anyone. So use the first test to find these bugs and fix them, and then play test again so you can get the user's experience of your content. And then from there, if you want to play test again and again and again, great, because the more tests you do, the better you're off. Marketing and advertising. So I'll be honest, I have not been very successful at marketing and advertising my stuff. But I will go over the principles of what you might want to consider when doing it, which I should have done for my stuff. Where to advertise. A lot of people will immediately say YouTube, and they're right. But the problem with YouTube, and it's on this list, but the problem with YouTube is if you don't have a platform already, it's extremely hard to get your content out there, especially for small creators and just people wanting to share their personal projects. So what I suggest is Discord. And that is your first point of contact because you have people who are already interested in data packs. Share on data pack communities such as Smith or Minecraft commands. There's a whole bunch of others, but those people are already interested in data packs. So to share to them, they have an understanding of what the hell it is, and so straight away, you've got your target audience. You're not just throwing out there into the infinite abyss people who might potentially play Minecraft or might not. Reddit. Share your stuff on Reddit because you can actually get a lot of interaction very fast from a wider group of people. Again, they might not be interested in data packs, but at least they're interested in Minecraft and Minecraft content. Planet Minecraft. Put this one in there because surprisingly, you can get a lot of traction from Planet Minecraft. And quite quickly. You can build an audience very fast if you are consistent posting and you post interesting stuff. And then lastly, YouTube. YouTube is, honestly, it's the best to market and advertise your stuff. But the issue is if you're a solo developer and you're beginning out and you don't have subscribers and people aren't watching your stuff, you're screwed from the beginning. So again, if you have a team or you have, or you're one of the quite big YouTubers who are sitting in the front row, hello. YouTube is great because you have a platform to send your stuff out to. You have people to immediately. But if you don't, it kind of just sits there and idles. But it is the best. So if you can somehow get into the rhythm of having your content viewed, I highly suggest it. Oh. Hello. No, it's just my mouse. I thought I froze for a second, but no, my mouse just connected. We're back. Oh, I think, did I skip a part? Let's just quickly check that, folks. No, I didn't. Oh yeah, so social media. Instagram, maybe. TikTok, maybe. I haven't had a lot of success with that sort of stuff, but be my guest. Go out there and try. So what do you need when you're actually marketing and advertising? You need a project description. You need somewhere where they can look and get an understanding of what it is that you're providing them. What are the features? What are you doing? Um, I have seen a lot of Minecraft data pack trailers which just have a trailer and nothing else. And you're not setting yourself up for success, because you can watch that and you say, what are the features you're showing off? What are you actually doing here? What are you selling? Pretty much. Screenshots. You need screenshots um, of your game. You need screenshots of your features. So again, screenshot when you're developing and testing. You need screenshots. Trailer. You need a trailer or some sort of video content because people like to see stuff that move. So do that. And a call to action. You need something that tells them what to do next. Where can they find your content? Where can they download your stuff? Where can they follow you? So when you do post it, they get notified. A call to action. What do they do next? When making a trailer, you should include your core gameplay elements or USP. USP is an acronym which I've written down because I knew I wouldn't remember it, which is unique selling point. What is the unique element of your data pack? Why should they play yours and not someone else's? Show that off in the trailer straight away. You need the opening of your trailer has to be engaging. They have to see what your project is. It needs to be captivating. So show off your different elements straight away. Don't have a massive build up showing just Minecraft content, Minecraft. And then, 20 seconds into the video, I'm showing my stuff because they will click off by then. Sound and music. You should have some sort of music in the background and sound effects because otherwise it's just a slideshow or a presentation like this, and no one wants that. And again, you want a call to action. At the end of your trailer, you want to tell them what they need to do. Do they need to download it right now, or do they need to subscribe? Do they need to follow you on Discord and join your server? Tell them what to do. And then publishing. The final section is publishing within the publishing section, and changing slides. Where should you be publishing? I'm going to just off the top say Planet Minecraft, because personally that's where I've been publishing my stuff, and you do get a bit of traction, but there is also Modrinth. I can't pronounce that, but that has a lot of content out there on it. It has a lot of mods and it's mod focused, and so I have seen a bit of people saying, "Is this a mod? Is this a data pack? What's a data pack?" But I think it is slowly becoming more understandable that data packs aren't mods, and so people can sort of get that. And then Smith. Personally, I'll admit I had not heard of Smith until probably the start of the year, but it does get a lot of traction, and because this presentation is somewhat connected to Smith, I am obliged to bring them up here. But no, it is very good. They've got a great platform, so please publish on Smith. And there is a bit of debate whether or not you should publish on all three, or all how many there are, multiple or just one. I think that's personal preference, but do remember where you publish your stuff, because if you ever update and then you don't update your content somewhere else, you're screwing over some people, and that's never fun. So what do you need when you're actually publishing? You will need either a zipped version of your pack to like a, I don't know how would you say that? Sort of upload. That's the word. Pretty simple word. Upload or link to the thing. So you need a finished condensed pack. Um, you need categories and tags. You need some way to categorize your thing. So consider, what does your data pack fit under? Most large data packs would go under like extensive or mobs and recipes and stuff like that. But there's also other tags which you can add, which is, for instance, mine. It was all about dinosaurs and stuff. So I added Jurassic and dinosaurs, fossils, and archaeology, because it helps the algorithm, which is a scary word, for sorting, determine what your pack is. Description. Again, this comes back to a description of what you're actually doing. Include what the overall idea is, and what you've included in your pack. A guide. A guide is really helpful, whether or not you put it on the download page somewhere else. But step-by-step instructions to help people get into the content is kind of necessary, unless, of course, you have some sort of video series or some other in-game sort of way or guide. Because as you develop, you obviously know how your pack works, and even your testers, because you can just explain to them. But people who don't know you or haven't experienced the development of your pack won't understand how to engage with the content. So you can say, I've got hundreds of features in my data pack, but if you don't explain how to unlock them or get to them or use them, people won't. So yeah, you should probably have some way to teach them how to do things. Screenshots, again, going back to screenshots, have screenshots, take screenshots. You want to show off your thing, and to have visual images on a page which is mostly text is really useful, not only to sort of promote your stuff, but to keep them there and long enough for them to decide, yeah. And then your video, which is sort of, you can have trailer or gameplay or something which shows off your, because again, people like to watch stuff. That's it. So I will thank everyone for coming out today. It's been amazing, and I hope people learned something. And I apologize for it being like 12 o'clock at night for some people, because time zones are super fun. So we do have a Q&A section, which I will hand over, and hopefully we've got some questions. And if we don't, that's fine. But we've got time in case. So that's it.
All right. Amazing talk, Red. Thank you so much. And thank you so much to the audience. So yeah, we're going to start the Q&A section now. Make sure to, or rather, you can ask the questions either in game chat, the stream chat on YouTube, or over here in the Discord stage. And yeah, so go ahead, Red.
Okay. So I've got a list of what looks like 5 questions at the moment. So I'll try and go through them kind of quickly, because we've only got 10 minutes left. So the first one is, what programs/tools do you use to plan your projects, and why do they work for you? Good question. I didn't mention that. I've been using Google Docs. They're very easy to get to. You can just make new ones whenever you want. They don't take up file space. And it kind of does all you need to do, which is laying out all the different stuff, all the descriptions. You can put screenshots in there. You can have graphs and tables. Plus, you can share it really easily. So if you want to collaborate with someone, you can just share the document and they can open it on their browser. It's really simple. I hope that helped. But if you want to get advanced, I will mention Trello. I haven't been using it as of late, but if you're doing large collaborative projects, I do suggest it. Trello, yes, Trello, Trello. It's kind of like a schedule sort of blocking. Hard to explain, but if you see, you might remember, like you might yeah, people use it for a lot of game development stuff. So have a look at that if you're interested. Um, how to combat choice paralysis when designing code, or what about analysis paralysis? Oh god. Okay. So I'm going to assume you're sort of talking about how you decide between certain things. Good question. I'm going to first say focus on your skills. If you're really good at something, um, do that first. Um, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's kind of per instance, but yeah, that's a difficult question. But sort of focus on your skills, I would say, and do what you think is going to be best for the project in the long run. Don't cut corners because they're easy. Um, but of course, if you have skills in a certain area and you think that's going to be good, do that. Don't worry about saying, "Oh, I need to use this scoreboard system because all the YouTubers are saying that's great." It might be amazing. It might work a little bit faster or be more efficient. But hey, if you can summon a whole bunch of marker entities, do a random selection of those, that works. That's fine. I will jump to the next question. I hope that helped in some sort of way. Um, how many people would you recommend to have on a team at once when making a? That is a good question. I suggest if you're going to ask anyone, ask one of the team. I haven't worked in a team, a very big team. I've worked with maximum two other people who have sort of helped out in certain areas. But again, it kind of comes back to how you're managing and sort of, you kind of hate to say it, but sort of managing who does what, who's in charge. Because if it's a collaborative sort of thing, you want to have some sort of accountability for people doing their work. Um, because you don't want to go along the whole way and be like, hey, Dan or whatever, your friend Dan is working on all the textures and it's been weeks and he's like, yeah, I'm making them. He turns around and says, oh, sorry guys, I haven't been making them. I don't want to do anything. So I think it comes back to who can you trust and who can you manage, and what you're trying to achieve. And if you have dedicated people who want to work on a project with you, it should work out in the end. How do you go about coming up with a good idea, a good set of features from the beginning? I often find that I have a general data pack idea, but I can't decide on the specifics. Um, Prototyping, I will say that. Just have to do really short answers for all these questions because we got a lot. But prototyping is really key. If you have an idea, write it down, and then come back through and try a whole bunch of different stuff. Try your idea about spaceships. Try your idea about geology. Try your different ideas. See what works. See what's fun. Um, in terms of deciding on the specifics, um, start small. Break it down into really small increments of different features, um, and develop those. And if you have really good features, you'll have a really good pack. So start small. Don't worry about making a massive MMORPG. Find a way to make a really good quest system, and then you can work from there. I hope that kind of helps. I don't know if it did. How to manage your ideas? Gosh, if I didn't answer that in my presentation, I am extremely sorry. But write them down. Write them down in a document. It doesn't have to be fancy, just so long as it's there. Yeah. Yeah, just write them down. Write them down. Um, how would you stay motivated as a solo developer? That's a great question.
And it looks like Red might be having some technical difficulties. So everyone please hold.
Think he's ready to join. Chakra?
Yep. I invited Red to speak on the stage.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry about that. My Minecraft decided to crash out of nowhere along with my PC. So we'll just do it from here. Answering the question of how you stay motivated, share your stuff. Because if you're not sharing your ideas, you will eventually lose motivation for them. So if you have friends that you want to sort of share your stuff with, or communities that you want to post screenshots to, really do it. And I know people sort of get worried about people are going to steal my ideas, but they won't. Usually, unless it's amazing. But considering no one can really make money off data packs, there's not a massive issue there. So yeah, just share your stuff, share your content with other people, because it's a great motivating factor. The next question, getting it up. Is it worth posting data packs on CurseForge? I'm going to answer that with an I don't really know. Probably, but probably have to talk to a few of the other developers who have actually published on CurseForge, because what I can see, people do get downloads. So why not? Yeah, sure, it's worth publishing anyway. So that's I say. Do you have a predecessor or? Oh, sorry. Do you have anything to help with writing code? Not really. Just using sort of the Minecraft command generators, that is good enough for me. Plus many years of experience. That's what I can sort of say on that. How would you go about finding help when finding yourself incapable of completing a certain aspect of your pack? I would have to say, reach out to people. If you have a community of people who are engaged in sort of making data packs and stuff, like the Smith community, people are pretty generous about the information they'll give out. People want to help. People want to be engaged with what people are making. So don't be afraid to ask on Discord or on Reddit. I know Reddit. I don't know. Reddit's got a kind of a bad reputation sometimes, but I do think it can help. Just find really obscure answers, and they're pretty fast. But for consistent help, for people you want to sort of grow a relationship with and sort of gain rapport with, definitely go with Discord. yeah, anyone in the audience right now, I'm sure would be happy to help one another solving problems. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that could be all. That's all the time we have. So I
Yep.
will. Yeah, cool.
That wraps up the panel, everybody. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much, Red, for giving this awesome talk to everyone. This is also really cool because it was from a very unique perspective. I believe we haven't had a talk quite like this on the summit yet, so that's awesome. And yeah, and also thank you to the audience, of course, for being so nice to our host over here. And yeah, I would also like to ask everyone to join us tomorrow. Let me just double check the time here. At 7 p.m. UTC, the panel Intro to World Gen is going to be a really big panel, really informative one. If you're at all interested in pretty much anything to do with Datapack, which I think everyone here is a little bit, feel free to join us. It's going to be great. And yeah, 2 p.m. EST. And yeah, thank you everyone.
Thank you everyone for coming. I hope I helped in some sort of way. Thank you. Have a great day.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
very good job. And of course, until the next panel, there's plenty to do in the world. So many booths to explore, so many things to try. And I'm sure there will be people around to talk to as well. Maybe you have something more to say about that, Chuck. I'm not sure.
More to say about what? Sorry?
I mean, yeah, we have and I'm sure there will be plenty of things happening until the next panel.
Oh yeah,
So be sure to
of
stick
course.
around.
Yep.
Servers will also